Thank you. I so appreciate eWomen Network. It's a fabulous organization. So for those of you who are guests, you should definitely consider joining. I'm going to talk to you about the how to open the floodgates to more sales, better clients, and higher profits. But I thought I would give you a little quick tour of how I got to where I am. So some of you know me, but you probably haven't even heard this story. So this is me in my dad's drugstore. So my father was an entrepreneur before they were really using that phrase. He owned the drugstore that was kitty corner across the street from the school that I went to. So even though I was painfully shy as a child, I was really popular with all the kids because my dad owned the store where they would buy their school supplies and their little squeezy rubber balls, and their parents would come get their prescriptions filled. So I didn't quite understand how money worked until I got my first job. And I did notice that we had a pretty good lifestyle. I didn't really want for very much. I wanted for stuff because I was a kid, but all the stuff that I needed, I had. And my mother's older sister lived about 2 blocks away from us in a house that was pretty similar, but her house seemed to have less stuff in it than ours did. And my mother had another sister who lived farther away in a bigger place, and she had way more stuff. So I had some sense that people lived different ways, but I didn't quite understand how that all worked. The one thing that I did know from an early age was that I was going to go to college. My mother said, "You're going to college. You're probably going to go to graduate school." And so I did that. And the reason she told me that was really important was that she wanted me to get a really good job so that I wouldn't be dependent on my husband for my livelihood and my lifestyle. So even though we lived pretty well, I know my mother had this tremendous spending habit. And so I can just imagine, as I look at this conversation in retrospect, that she must have, wanted to spend a lot more and wanted to have her own money, not just what was coming out of the business. So, I went to school. I got, a psychology degree. I got an MBA in finance. And I worked for some really fabulous companies. So I came out of school, I went to work for Sears, I worked for Kraft Foods, I worked for Sega, Apple, DreamWorks, and Apple was my very favorite company. And while I was there, I started my very first business. I went to a workshop, and I was sitting through this guided meditation, and this male voice said very matter-of-factly, "You should make jewelry." And I said, okay, I love jewelry. And so I told people, how when you get a really clear message and you take action on it? So I went out and I started telling people, I'm going to have a jewelry business. And so I found all of these resources where I could buy the supplies and take classes and find out what art festivals I should work in. It was amazing. And it actually generated a lot of money. One summer, it sent me on a month-long trip to Africa. So I spent a week in Zanzibar, 2 weeks on safari, and then the week with my private entourage in the bush in Tanzania. It was incredible. And then later on, I started a consulting company, and that was a lot more difficult. So when I had a jewelry business, I would make jewelry, I would put it up on the display, people would walk in, they would buy it, they would hand me money. It was really wonderful. But I didn't feel bad when they didn't buy my stuff. But when I started selling my own coaching and consulting, if somebody didn't hire me, it felt personal. And so I was really saddened when people that I knew I could help wouldn't buy my services. So I went on this quest to improve my sales and marketing skills. So I took classes, I read books, I hired a coach. I did a lot of things so that I could communicate what it was that I had to offer to people in a more clear way so that they would say, yes, I need you. And then when I moved to Phoenix, I realized I had a whole new network, and I had to relaunch my business again when I got here. So I've been in business now 13 years, celebrated 13 years in May, and I've, as you can see, been on TV and done a lot of different things. So life has been pretty good. And I am married now to my college sweetheart from the 1970s that I didn't marry the first time. I had to work out a lot of kinks in the whole relationship area, and now we've been happily married for 9 years. I'm really happy about that. So, if you're a business owner, you might have felt a lot of kind of angst over the last few years. Things have been difficult for a lot of people. So you might feel like, you're spending a lot of time and money on marketing and you're not quite sure how it's turning out. Maybe you feel like there's a lot of competition in your area and you aren't quite sure how to distinguish yourself from other people who do similar things that you do. Maybe you feel like you're working way too hard and things just aren't turning out the way that you'd like, and you're stretched really thin. Does anybody feel like any of this sound familiar? A little bit. So you may be disappointed with some of the things that you've tried, and maybe you've tried all kinds of things because they sounded like really good ideas, and they might not actually have been really right for you. So one of the things I've discovered is that I'm really good at helping entrepreneurs, particularly women in business, take all those ideas that are swirling around in your head and turn them into actionable plans so that you can go out and accomplish your dreams. So many of us, have lots of things that we want to do and we never quite get around to doing them. So when you're in action, you'll actually feel more confident and secure and able to grow your business. So today we're talking about the 3 essential elements to getting anything that you want, 5 traps that you have to avoid if you're going to have success in business, and the 4 factors that will open those floodgates to more sales, better clients, and higher profits. So that's a lot, and I've got, I think, 15 minutes now. So the first element is you have to have the right mindset. I use what I call the BAR theory, and it's an acronym, so it has nothing to do with Chardonnay or mojitos or even wheatgrass if you're really healthy. It's an acronym, and it stands for beliefs, actions, and results. And the theory goes that our beliefs shape our actions, and those actions highly influence the results that we get. So a simple example would be if you think about driving over here perhaps, and you're approaching an intersection and there's a traffic light there and the light is green, and your belief set is things are generally go well for me, I'm having a great day, woohoo, all is well. You might look at that green light, and what are you likely to say to yourself about the light? I can make it. That's what I think, right? So just to be careful, you check the light, you see if there's a pedestrian sign. Is it white or orange? If it's orange, is it flashing? If it's flashing, how many seconds do I have left? Are there any appliances in the intersection? Any special cars I should make note of? And if your brain continues to get all the right signals, the next action is foot on the gas pedal, let's go for it, right? Now imagine if there's a person in the car next to you and they have a very different belief set. So their belief set is, life is really messed up, I never get any lucky breaks, things aren't going well, I'm having a horrible day, I shouldn't even have gotten out of bed today. They're going to look at that same green light, and what are they likely to say? It's going to turn right. So they don't even bother to see how much time they have left. They take their foot off the gas and maybe apply the brake. It's very likely that when they do that, they get stopped. And they say, I knew it. But it's likely that you and me, with that, I think I can do it, that you get through the light and you say, yeah, I knew it, and you go on about your day. And can you imagine that those 2 days would be very different, right? Well, in reality, we all have some of those, it's not possible for me, it's not going to work out. So I help people take the beliefs that they have about themselves that help them accomplish things, like I'm really organized, I'm great with people, I know my stuff, and leverage them so they accomplish even more. And take those other beliefs that we have, like, I'm not so organized, I'm not really that good with time, I'm not, I'd rather work on my computer than with people, but those things that keep us hesitant and procrastinating. And even though you think you've got lots of evidence for why they're true, they're just beliefs, and they actually can change. So all the coaches are in here nodding. So I help people identify those beliefs that are holding them back, replace them with more beliefs that are more freeing and empowering, because when you operate from a set of beliefs that are empowering, you'll have a world that is more inviting, and you'll feel freer to take risks and go out and try things more frequently than if you're feeling like the world's a bad, dangerous place. Does that make sense? So one of my fundamental beliefs is that we all have more options than we generally see and more control than we tend to take.